My name is Bettina Matzkuhn. I live and work in Vancouver, BC. I work mainly with embroidery and fabric collage, usually around themes of the landscape and my relationship to it. In 2001, when I made The Night It All Went, I knew my marriage was failing. It had been foundering for years, yet in the middle of it, I found it a very stressful time. There was grief for the loss of what I had imagined the marriage might be, and some anger, but also a feeling of becoming unmoored, of being caught in this great upheaval. Around the same time, I was reading about global warming, most notably Bill McKibben's book, The End of Nature, which was first published in 1989. Always interested in ecology, I was aware of the thinning ozone layer, problems of air pollution and acid rain, but this book made me understand what carbon dioxide was doing to the atmosphere. The scenario of heavier rain because of a warmer atmosphere, flooding, rising sea levels was vivid in my mind. Natural disaster seemed like an apt metaphor for what was overpowering, for what I could not control. Of course, humans can change our contributions to global warming, and I understand that I have agency and responsibility. But in terms of my life at that time, especially after I was diagnosed with a serious illness, everything seemed to be going downstream. In the 1990s, I had attended a few classes at a backcountry retreat in northern BC. One time I worked with the image, avatar maybe, of a small house undergoing upheaval. These drawings became the groundwork for the series Inundation. The original Night It All Went drawing just has the door and window taking off into a yellow funnel. It's a flood and explosion kind of combo. For the textile piece, I added all kinds of domestic trappings, kitchen table, lamp, comfy chair, and so on. Sometimes in the middle of a disaster, laughing as a way to center yourself. The rest of the inundation works played on and expanded the drawings. My process adapts to what I'm working on. Some pieces have machine sewing in them, some use fabric scraps, some are entirely done by hand. I work from drawings and photos I take. My sketchbooks are cluttered with newspaper clippings, drawings, notes from books I'm reading, thumbnail sketches to work out composition, ideas on the order in which to assemble something. Someone said that ideas are slippery, and the sketchbook helps me hang on to them. Over the years, I've made samples to try out techniques on a small scale. I feel like I think best with my hands. I can imagine and draw and plan all I want, but when I'm actually involved with the materials, that's when I discover the hazards and possibilities. I was alarmed by photos from floods in Europe in 2002, around the time I was working on this series, especially one of a woman sitting by a riverbank on a pile of rubble. Her home and family had been swept away. I thought of how animals, too, would be confused and desolate in such a setting. Certainly the floods in BC in the fall of 2021 have been devastating for human and animals alike. I think the sense of everything blowing up is relevant right now. Many of us have solastalgia, the longing and mourning for places that are no more. I feel climate angst, eco-anxiety, because I don't know what's down the road. And I have a kind of climate rage because governments and industry have been so slow to respond to the science. Over the years, I've continued to make work that considers the land as something that is alive. Glaciers are disappearing all over the world. Climate refugees are migrating in ever greater numbers. How we care for the climate, the environment, the land, the natural world is really part of how we care for each other. While The Night It All Went portends disaster, there are works in the Inundation series that consider adaptation. In his poem, Portrait of the Poet as Landscape, A.M. Klein ends it saying how the poet, quote, lives alone and in his secret shines like phosphorus at the bottom of the sea, unquote. After being washed downriver, the little house finds a new life underwater. The lights are on. I think often of what adaptation will look like. Maybe the marriage that is failing now is the economic one, to consumerism, to constant growth, to inequality. The Night It All Went is about a relationship blowing up. In these times, I think it's the human relationship with nature that needs counseling, tending, and some renegotiating.